Confetti. Streamer here with airplanes, bugs, flowers, cars, people, guitars. Little bits and pieces of this and that. Them, they, us, those, spiders, birds, crawfish, ducks, city streets, buildings, lakes, and trees. What do you think it all means? Soap opera, what? Soap opera, villains, heroes, bodywork, weird visual stuff, weird oral stuff, music, water, rocks, flying saucers, UFOs, street festivals. Confetti, 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 confetti.
I'm Marjorie Lenore Cop Chick.
And where are you from?
Oh, from Massachusetts.
So is that where you were born? Is that where you were born?
Massachusetts, yes. I was born in Haverhill, Massachusetts.
Well, how was it that you got to North Carolina?
Well, that's a long story. I went from Massachusetts, went to Florida, and from Florida I came to North Carolina because my daughter and my son lived here.
What is it that you've done most of your life, as far as a career or anything
Oh
like that?
my! I'm taking care of babies when I was young, taking care of old folks when I was old, and now that I'm older, I knit and crochet for poor folks. Charity takes most of my time up. My God-given gift.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your childhood?
Oh, my childhood.
What it was like growing up?
Well, I grew up in poor times. I never had a real nice doll. In one Christmas after my father had pneumonia and the rest of the family had the flu, that's when the bad flu epidemic was. That Christmas I got an orange and a coloring book for Christmas. That's all it was. But during the year, after Christmas, the teacher said she wanted everybody to bring in their best gifts that they got at Christmas. Well, all I had was, I guess there were some crayons with that, to bring in the whatever we had. So I had to take my coloring book. So this one got up and said this was her doll. There's some were French dolls and German dolls and sleds and maybe a muff or some special dress or something. Everybody would tell what theirs was. But I noticed she skipped over mine. She didn't say anything until I was the very last one. And she had gone through the coloring book and she came to one special picture. And she said, "To me, this is the greatest prize of all." Because she said, I had made it come to life. It was just black and white and I had colored it in. And she showed it to all the kids. That made me feel like $1 million, even though I didn't give a fancy doll or anything. So then I called Schraff's Candies in Charlestown, which was the next city to where we were, and asked them, I said, "Do you have seconds that you would have for the veterans?" I told them we couldn't have any hard centers like nuts or things, but any of the soft ones. And I said, we would appreciate it. And the lady said, "Oh yes." She said, "Do you have somebody come and get them?" Well, I just had to take the elevator, and we got right off at the stop across the street from the factory. And she gave us 10 pounds, 5-pound box of beautiful chocolates. And then I went to, my husband was working a private chauffeur for another lady, so I called her and I asked her if she'd like to do anything. She said, "Anything I can do." And I said, "Oh, I would love some apples." So that night my hubby came home with the most beautiful Macintosh apples. And during the year we had made bed slippers out of face cloths. So everything that you took in, nothing could be taken out. And you had to make, everything had to be so it could be put in disinfectant, before they could use it again. And we got chewing gum and combs and handkerchiefs, and you couldn't take anything sharp like razor blades or not even nail files. You only could just take emery boards, but nothing that would cause anybody could use for harm. And then we made big net stockings, red net stockings, to fill them with. So we got to the hospital that day, or the night before. I took and I polished all those apples. At Macintosh apples, when you polish them, they are beautiful. And she had sent a whole box of grade A apples. So my hubby said, "What are you polishing those apples for?" He said, "Nobody will ever notice they're polished." So as we went in, some of the ladies took the men down that wanted to go to play bingo for a while. But I went into this room and there was this man there, and I asked him if he'd like to go play bingo. And he said no. He said, "But you know," he said, "I wish you'd come and sit and talk to me." And he was immaculate. Looked like he'd just come out of the shower. He was well groomed, and everything on his table was just perfect. And oh, we sat and we chatted and we chatted and talked about old times. And I mentioned about having snow for Christmas, and he said, "Oh," he said, "I hope we have snow for Christmas," because he said the children just love to have snow and get new sleds or whatever. And we went into detail what we had had, and much of the things that he did, I had done it when I was young. And we would even slide down the hills on barrel staves, and some of the men would get cheese boxes from the grocer. They came in big round pliable wood boxes that they would come from maybe across the water, and they'd make toboggans. And we had just as much fun as those that owned nice big flexible flyers. And he said they had done the very same thing, and all too soon it was time for the people that were playing bingo to come back. And they had an old piano there in the hall that everybody could hear. And while they were getting ready for the party itself, I don't know whether it was one of our group or one of the group from the hospital that played all the different Christmas carols. And we passed out first they served. We brought all the cookies, and the hospital made ice cream and gave ice cream. And punch. See, we couldn't eat any of that stuff. We couldn't touch it for ourselves. And then after they had their little party, we passed out these stockings that we had. So I was still sitting with this man. He was delightful. And when he got his stocking, he would take one, like most of them, if they were near the bed, they just dumped everything on the bed. But not this man. He took every piece out, whether it was a package of gum or a comb or whatever, and he laid them side by side on his table. The last thing he pulled out was the apple. I had put them in the toes of all the stockings. And the man picked it up. He turned it round and he turned it round back and forth, and he said, "Somebody took the time to polish my apple." And I thought of my hubby's voice the night before saying, "Who will notice?" Then he said, "Oh, may God bless the person rather, that polished my apple."